Another month has gone, so it's only right we say goodbye to April by wrapping up what I read. It's been a bit of a slower month for me than normal. I only read 3 books in April, but they were pretty good books. So let's get down to it. The first book I read in April I mentioned at the end of my wrap up in March, and that is Just One Day by Gayle Foreman. I've said it before, I don't want to travel outside of the UK, but regardless, this book has made me want to visit Paris. It fills me with this like kind of, oh, it's awesome to just go and visit and taste and see the things that I mentioned in this book. As you can tell from that, it's partly set in Paris. As a present from her parents when graduating high school, they buy Alison this really rather funky watch, but also a trip to Europe on one of those guided tour thingamajiggies. And that's okay, it's fine, it's not exactly what Alison was expecting. But it does bring Alison to Stratford-on-Avon, the home of Shakespeare, and there she stumbles on Gorilla Will, which is basically Shakespeare in a promenade style, so outside. As the play is performed, you follow around the cast and the kind of story is brought to life that way, which sounds awesome. I've kind of been looking up to see if there's any around here, and there might just be something done in the caves around here coming up soon, so that's quite exciting. Because of this Gorilla Will, she comes into contact with this guy called Willem. He's a bit of a player, it has to be said, but because of him she has a whirlwind day in Paris, hence the name Just One Day. And things happen. I'm not going to say any more as this is probably a story you want to discover on your own, but oh my god, yeah, I do want to visit Paris because of this book, despite me saying I never want to leave the UK. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out. But whatever. There was a sequel to this, though I think it's more been described as a companion and a novella, and I'm very keen to get both of those. But yeah, this was a very good book, and I highly recommend it. I think this book will be for you if you like Paris, romance, and contemporary. The second book I read in April is book 5 in my favourite contemporary series. It's Head Over Heels by Holly Smale, part 5 in the Geek series. Again, I'm not going to say too much about this book because there have been 4 books before it, and what I say could basically spoil the entire series. So instead, I'll tell you a bit about the series. It follows Harriet Manners, who is a self-proclaimed geek. In book 1, thanks to a school trip, she finds herself discovered by a modelling agent, and the series basically follows her adventures modelling. Now, as much as that makes it sound like a book all about modelling, it's actually not about modelling at all. Modelling kind of sits as a backdrop to the rest of the series. It's hugely funny, it has amazing characters, probably, if not certainly, has 2 of the best parents I've ever seen in children's fiction in the form of Annabelle and Richard. Richard, he's a hoot. And I cannot forget to give a mention to Wilbur. Yes, Wilbur, not William. He's the wonderfully colourful agent. And of course Toby the stalker. My hero. It brings back some of the characters we've seen previously, and you can kind of feel the series is starting to come home now. The series has almost come to an end. Book 6 is currently the last book in the series, coming out next year. There's a few novellas as well. But yeah, it's an awesome series and my favourite series ever. You will love this book and this series if you love contemporary comedy, if you're a bit geeky, if you like travel. Seriously, everyone should read this book and this series. It's so good. And the last book I read in March was Lifers by M.A Girffin. That's the one. This book imagines what it'd be like if in the future, and if we're going to be honest, this could happen, is happening maybe, we run out of space in our prisons for young people, or young offenders in prisons, or establishments, institutes, whatever we're calling them nowadays. Its solution is that we find a big old cave and stick them in there. That's the solution, and this book almost starts off with the premise that it's basically not going to work, it's not going to be popular, and it's all about fighting back. It has corrupt MPs, it has carnivorous spaces, which you really feel the tension in. You know, you've got all these kids who are actually going hungry, some of them have gone a bit crazy. The atmosphere comes at you from the page. It did take a bit of time to get into it, but once you get into it, it's fast paced and it's incredibly compelling. This book might be for you if you like thrillers, corrupt MPs, dark stories and dystopias. And I'm currently reading Storm by Virginia Bergen. I'm only like 60-70 pages in so far. It's the sequel to The Rain, which I have to say I think is one of the most underrated books in the year it was published. These 2 books are amazing. I'm only a little way into this book and I'm addicted already and I cannot wait to read more. Yes! I'll talk more about it next month, but I thought I had to give it a quick shout out now, just so you know what's coming. So those were the books I read in March. If you'd like to find out more, I'll put links to the Goodreads page and my full reviews in the doobly-doo below. My name's Jessie and we've just read to life March. Until next time, goodbye.